Hello, I'm Andrew, and this is my Series 3 of the weekly podcasts 50 Ways to Succeed at Work. These podcasts build confidence and know-how. Consequently, they can help you achieve happiness at work. By the way, that's also the title of my book, available at Amazon and from the book's website, My Happiness at Work. Now for today's episode in Series 3. This is episode 13. In Series 3, 50 Ways to Succeed at Work. This episode is called Becoming Indispensable. Beware, it's a trap. It's one of the most memorable stories ever told. The huge 9-foot Philistine represents his entire army and is indispensable to its success. As the giant steps forward to issue his challenge, he confronts a fragile-looking slim figure of David. Well, you know how the story ends. David slays his invincible opponent. Being unbeatable and indispensable may sound like a great idea. At work, your employer is likely to treat you as irreplaceable. Goliath's downfall reminds us that your value could be less than it seems. For example, in 2004, legions of freelance designers, animators, illustrators, and movie makers woke up to find half their previously reliable employment had vanished in months rather than years. Many never recovered from the onslaught of artificial intelligence that was now able to handle many of their bread-and-butter tasks. Some even sold their houses to survive. Here's a quote from Steve Jobs of Apple. "I've always said if there's ever come a day when I could no longer meet my duties and expectations at Apple, I would be the first to let you know. Unfortunately, that day has come." Steve Jobs left the company for health reasons, and it struggled to survive. Later, though, he returned triumphantly to rescue it from oblivion. For an all-too-brief period, Jobs did appear indispensable. But later, when another CEO took over Apple, he showed it was possible to run the company successfully without Jobs. Becoming indispensable at work can seem like a tempting prospect. The ultimate career success. Everybody needs you, and the job looks deliciously secure. Some people do succeed in becoming indispensable for a while. For example, Brendan is a coder who writes software for a critical function of his organization. He's the only one who fully understands how it works and can troubleshoot and fix any issue. For a while, Brendan's been indispensable as the only one who can maintain and update the software as needed. Organizations, though, only tolerate relying heavily on an employee for a while. Excessive reliance creates problems through absences and other relationship issues. Brendan's employer insists that he trains a colleague as an understudy. Even companies can suffer from the illusion that they are somehow indispensable. In the 1970s and 1980s, for example, Kodak was a dominant player in the film and photography industry. It looked invincible. However, the company struggled to adapt to the digital age. And one factor contributing to its decline was that Kodak relied heavily on its CEO, George Fisher. Fisher was known for his strong leadership and strategic vision, but when he retired in 1999, Kodak struggled to find a suitable replacement and eventually went bankrupt. More recently, Disney had problems continuing its long-running success under a new leadership. A replacement for the previous long-standing CEO, Bob Iger, struggled to make an impact, so Iger returned as the indispensable CEO that the company desperately needed. Yet in Iger's own memoir, The Ride of a Lifetime, Iger himself recognized the argument that good leadership isn't about being indispensable. It's more about helping others be ready to step into your shoes. Well, do you want to be indispensable? You may feel less vulnerable if you were. Could it be a reliable route to work happiness, for example? Not based on the available evidence, I'm afraid, where in many cases those who seem indispensable, like Goliath, are in fact flawed. Becoming indispensable can be a trap, though superficially an attractive move. Assuming you are hell-bent on making yourself indispensable, what will it take to achieve that? For a start, you probably need to acquire a unique skill set that's vital to your organization. Another reliable way to gain the indispensable label is to develop strong relationships with clients or owners or customers. This will make you a crucial point of contact for your organization. Yet another possibility is to emerge as a troubleshooter by growing your expertise in solving problems quickly and efficiently. You might also perhaps clearly articulate the organization's goals and objectives to clients and team members. Becoming a good communicator will soon attract attention, and if you're consistent, you may quickly acquire a reputation that builds your indispensability. So, is being indispensable a mistake? Well, I think trying to become indispensable can be a trap that leads to burnout and dependence and limits career opportunities. If your effort to become indispensable starts to consume your entire time and energy, you may need help maintaining a healthy work-life balance. For example, if you're the only one able to do a specific task or a problem or a particular role, you may take on too much work, become overwhelmed, and cease to be fully productive. And overdependence on you may be stressful, putting pressure on you to always be available, even when you need time off or cannot work. So it's worth thinking hard about reaching to become indispensable in your current role. First, will it help your organization or make it harder to replace you? Second, it may make it harder to move on to other opportunities or gain promotion within your organization. And here's a final thought. Making yourself a valuable team member makes sense only so long as you don't try to exclude others from playing a similar role. Also, avoid hogging the limelight, instead giving plenty of recognition and praise to colleagues for their contributions. You've been listening to an episode of Series 3 of my weekly podcast, 50 Ways to Succeed at Work. You can hear the other podcasts at the 50ways.site, that's 50.site. There are nearly 100 titles and you can search for any issue that interests you. If you have any questions, you can always drop me a line from there. Also, check out my book, Happiness at Work. It's packed with great stories, compelling advice and suggestions for tackling real issues that you can encounter at work. It's at Amazon or at the book's website, myhappinessatwork.com. There's also an audio version if you prefer listening. Join me next week for another unmissable episode in Series 3. Bye for now.